بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد
اللهم صل على محمد
وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. The next rule that we study is قاعدة على اليد. We had a similar rule قاعدة اليد. Yes, al-yad means hand. قاعدة اليد is different from قاعدة على اليد. قاعدة اليد was a rule in order to find out who has the right of control over something or ownership. So we said if someone is selling something, is, I don't know, using something and claims that he is the owner, there is no need to question him and ask him for document. And as you remember, we said in the market, we cannot ask everyone who sells something to show the documents and ownership and all these things. We assume that everyone is owner of what they sell or use, unless it is proved otherwise. That was قاعدة اليد. But قاعدة على اليد, which literally means on the hand. This قاعدة means على اليد ما أخذت حتى تؤدي. Any hand, which means any person who has hand on something, who does not own that thing and has not secured permission from the owner. For example, you have a car. If without your permission, I take your car, then I am responsible to bring that car to you. And if anything happens to that car, I am responsible. Yeah? So I cannot say, I didn't want this car to be damaged, but it just happened. Yeah? You cannot say, my intention was to take this car and bring it back safely. No. If you take someone's car without his permission or her permission, you have to bring it back as soon as possible in the same condition. If anything happens to that car, you are responsible. Okay? So this is على اليد ما أخذت حتى تؤدي, which, to make it short, we just say قاعدة على اليد. Okay? Our ulama, our fuqaha discuss this قاعدة normally in fiqh when they talk about ضمان. When you become dhaman, when you become responsible, you have to pay to someone what you have wasted or what you have damaged, okay? Or what you have used without permission. You have to pay compensation. So they discuss it there. And also about discussion about qasb, when someone usurps something. So there are different places in fiqh that they discuss, but normally there is no very extended discussion about this qaida independently, like many other qawa'id. Just here and there in fiqh they discuss. And he says, Sheikh al-A'zam, Sheikh al-Ansari rahmatullah alayhi, in his Makasib, he refers to this qa'idah. Sheikh al-Naraqi rahmatullah alayhi, in his Awa'id al-Ayyam, talks about this qa'idah in brief. In any case, we will address few issues. As normal, we start with madhmun al-qa'idah, and then madrak al-qa'idah, and then other issues. What is madhmun al-qa'idah? What is the meaning? What is the concept behind this qa'idah? What do we mean by this qa'idah? So, we mean, I read for you in Arabic and then I explain. Al-Yad. Okay, so we mean by al-Yad, qa'idah al-Yad, أن كل من استولى على مال غيره ووقع تحت يده كان ضامنا له. Whoever has istila, whoever has a kind of control over someone else's money or property, okay, belonging of someone else, but you have istila, you have taken it in your hand, and then either it is damaged or wasted or not. In any case, you are responsible. You have to take it back, and if there is any damage, you have to compensate. Because you should not have taken someone else's possession. You take a car, and then its tire is stolen. You are responsible. Or someone steals the car, you are responsible. Yeah? Even if earthquake comes and the car is damaged, you are responsible. Not responsible for earthquake, but responsible for the car. If you take something from someone and deliberately damage it, that's another rule. We call it qa'idatul itlaf. Itlaf. Itlaf, talaf. You have heard talaf, yeah? Itlaf. Itlaf is bab if'al, means to waste, to damage. So, if I decide to damage your car, I am responsible, but that is understood from another rule. Qa'idatul itlaf. Qa'idatul al-Yad is for someone who has no intention of damaging or wasting, but just without permission has taken that object. You understand? Another question. If, suppose, someone takes my car without my permission and sells it to another person. Sometimes this happens. A person steals a car and makes a fake, for example, document or whatever, and sell it to another person. And that person sells it to another person. Okay? The real owner can claim back his car no matter where he finds it. If he finds it with the first person or second person or the third person, he can claim it back. Even if the second, for example, has sold to the third, and the third has paid the money, but that contract is not valid. Yeah? So you can always claim back when you find your property. Okay? If your property is damaged, you can claim its value. another car, for example, or the price. We will talk about mithl and qima. So if the car is there, you claim your car. If the car is damaged, then you claim another car or the price. So we explained also the difference between qa'idatul yad and qa'idatu al-yad. What's the difference? Qa'idatul yad.
Someone is possessing something, someone has got the thing. But this one
When someone has control over something and acts as an owner, we assume that he is the owner. This is a sign of amara, a sign for ownership. But qa'idatu al-yad is different. Qa'idatu al-yad is for someone who has taken without permission someone else's property or belonging and has control over it. We say you have to give it back, and if it's damaged, you are responsible to pay the.
It is without permission, not responsible of it.
Yes. If it is with permission, we will talk about it. If you take my car with my permission, and then something happens, then you are not responsible. Okay?
But this is about a ghasib, right? Who makes a
Yes.
ghasib, and then there is damage.
Yes. Without permission, then you are responsible. What is madrak? What is the proof, the evidence for this qaida? The most famous proof for this qaida is a hadith from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, which has actually become the formula that fuqaha keep using. Rasulullah is quoted as saying, "Ala al-yad ma akhadhat hatta tu'addi." It's on hand means on someone who has control over someone's property to give back. So ma akhadhat, what you have taken, you are responsible till you give it back. Tu'addi. Tu'addi comes from ada. If you remember, we had in akhlaq ada'ul amana, to give back, to deliver the trust. So when I take something without someone's permission, I take his property, I have to give back. When we look at the sanad of this hadith, we find that this hadith is not available in any of our major collections of hadith. You don't find it in Kafi or Tahzib or Istibsar or Man La Yahdur. Okay? The first person that seems to have narrated this in the Shia circles is again Ibn Abil Jumhur al-Ahsa'i in his Awali. So in Awal al-La'ali, he has mentioned this hadith. And then after that, Muhaddith Nuri, Sahibu Mustadrak wa Wasa'il al-Shia, the teacher of Sheikh Abbas Qummi, also has narrated this. Yes, Shaykh al-Tusi, Rizwanullah ta'ala alayh, in his Khilaf, you know, Sheikh al-Tusi has many books in fiqh. On fiqh, he has many books. One of the books which is alhamdulillah available today is a book called Al-Khilaf. And this book is a comparative fiqh, Sunni Shia fiqh. Khilaf means those things that might be different between Shia and Sunni in fiqh, or might be similar. So anyway, he's comparing in Al-Khilaf.
Is it available in Farsi?
No, it's in Arabic. So, Shaykh al-Tusi in this book, Al-Khilaf, mentions this hadith. And some other people also after him have done the same. So, it seems that this hadith has its roots in our Sunni brothers' sources, Sunni collections of hadith, and perhaps the Shia scholars also have accepted or acknowledged this hadith, and therefore they have mentioned this. But in Sunni world, you find many people. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal in his Musnad mentions this. Hakim al-Naysaburi in his Mustadrak, Ibn Majah in his Sunan, Bayhaqi in his Sunan, Tirmizi in his Sahih, Abu Dawud al-Sajistani in his Sunan. Many Sunni scholars and muhaddithin have narrated this hadith. While in the Shia, the first person who narrated this in hadith book is Ibn Abil Jumhur al-Ahsai, and in Fiqh Sheikh al-Tusi has used this hadith, but as we will see later, this is not enough. This doesn't create shuhra, because inshallah we will talk about that. Shuhra has to be among mutaqaddimin, and only one mutaqaddim is not enough. The chain of the narrators at the end, just before Rasulullah, we have the chain of narrators. We have Hasan and Samura and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Al-Hasan, Al-Hasan here means Al-Hasanul Basri. It's not Imam Hasan. Al-Hasan and Samura and Nabi. Samura is the same person that we discussed in Qa'idat La Dharar. La Dharara wa la Dharara fil Islam. Remember the story of the tree. Samara is the one who was the owner of that tree, but used to trouble and annoy that family in whose land that tree was. You remember the story and how he was stubborn. So, Samarat ibn Jundab, who was also the governor of Basra, by appointment from Ziyad, cannot be a reliable person after knowing his story with the Prophet and so on and so forth.
Which Ziyad?
Ziyad ibn Abi.
Umar ibn Sa'd's father.
Ubaydullah.
Ubaydullah.
Yes, Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad's father. And also, it said that when Muawiyah promised him some dirham to say, fabricated hadith, he accepted, unfortunately. So Muawiyah asked him to say something about some verses of the Quran which threaten. They say, you should say, it's about Ali. Some verses which are good and encouraging, you should say they are about Ibn Mulja. And unfortunately, he accepted to take money and do this. Plus, Hasan ibn Basri and whom? We said Hasan ibn Basri and Samura. It seems that there is no relation of sheikh and student between the two, and it seems that there is only one hadith that Hasan al-Basri narrates from Samura, and that's about Aqiqah. Aqiqah, Aqiqah when someone is born. So, hadith, unfortunately, is weak with respect to the sanad, to the chain of narrators. Salam. Hadith is weak. Normally, when hadith is weak, ulama try to see if there is any way to strengthen the weakness with something additional. Okay? Is there any way to compensate the weakness? Is there any way to bring some strength? One of the things that can bring strength is shuhra. Ash-shuhra. If sanad is weak, but it's famous. But as you remember before, we said if you mean ash-shuhra, ar-riwa'iyya, means it's something which is again and again by many people narrated. Actually, this is not narrated a lot. We said the first person who narrated this is al-Ahsa'i in his Awali. If you mean ash-shuhra in fatwa, which is good, if fuqaha have issued fatwa based on a hadith, and you are not able to verify that hadith is weak, just the fact that fuqaha have based their fatwa on this hadith, have issued fatwas, in relation to this, using this, it's good. This ash-shuhratul fatwiyya can compensate the weakness of the chain. But the problem here is that we don't have ash-shuhratul fatwiyya among mutaqaddimin. Among mutaakhirin is not a strong thing. It has to be mutaqaddimin, who were close to the time of Ma'soom, who may have had extra evidence. Maybe something for us is weak, but for them was not weak. Okay? So, we say, among mutaqaddimin, we have al-Shaykh al-Tusi. But does it make it mashhur? If it is only Shaykh al-Tusi who has issued fatwa like this, it's not making it mashhur. Especially, you know that Shaykh al-Tusi, where did mention this idea, this hadith, and issued fatwa? In which book? In Khilaf. And Khilaf is mostly for reaching out to Sunni brothers and sisters. So maybe he was using a hadith that they would be accepting. Yeah, sometimes in the course of argument, if there are two parties, one party may try to use the hadith that the other one accepts in order to establish a common point. Maybe you don't believe in yourself, but still you can use this hadith as your other party is accepting. But, pardon?
That's a good, we didn't know about this technique.
Yes,
This
yes.
strategy.
Yes. So sometimes, we say min bab tasalum, because we want to be in peace. You can use the other hadith because he believes in that, and even if you don't believe, then you can use this. Okay? In Mantiq also you study this. In Jadal, many times you use what is musallamat, even if you don't know how to prove it, for example, or if you know but it's not needed for the other parties accepting. The next point, maybe those fuqaha, which are not many among mutaqaddimin, but even those who have, anyway, issued fatwa and it's in compliance with this rule, maybe they didn't issue their fatwa based on this rule. Maybe they issued this fatwa based on an intellectual, on a rational procedure which is the same as this rule. In other words, maybe this rule is for them just a rephrasing of rational rule. Because it seems that even if you don't have any hadith, uqala have this manner in different societies. Not even Muslims, all uqala have this manner that if someone takes someone else's money or property without permission, he is responsible. Yeah, uqala have such thing. So, maybe Sheikh Irwani says the best is to refer to Siratul Uqala and say that uqala have this idea that people's properties, people's money, belongings are very important. They have to be respected. And if someone takes without permission something, he has to bring it back. If it is damaged, has to pay compensation or bring compensation. Then there is a question. We have some hadith which talk about the respect that we should have for the money or properties of others. Of course, the hadith talks about Muslims, but it's not limiting. But in the first place, because it's a Muslim community, Muslim society that they were talking about, it says the property of a Muslim has to be respected. This doesn't mean the property of non-Muslim should not be respected. Do you understand the point? So, for example, if I say in Hose that you should respect other talabas, honor, or other talabas' properties, it doesn't mean that we are only concerned about talabas. That context was the context for talking about talaba. So, one of those hadiths that is claimed, but we don't accept, but has been claimed that supports qa'idatu al-yad and perhaps can be an indirect argument for it, is Sahihatul Halabi wa Muhammad ibn Muslim and Abi Abdullah alayhi salam. He asked Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, هل تجوز شهادة أهل ملة من غير أهل ملتهم? Is it permissible that someone from another religion bears witness for someone in our religion, for example? So two people have different religions and one of them wants to bear witness about the other. Imam Sadiq, the son of the Prophet, said, نعم إذا لم يوجد من أهل ملتهم جازت شهادة غيرهم. If there is no one from their own religion to bear witness, then they can have a witness from another religion. Why? Why? Because إنه لا يصلح الذهاب حق أحد. No one's right should be wasted. لا يذهب means going. No one's right should go means no one's right should be disregarded, underestimated. In Sahih of Abi Basir and Imam Sadiq, from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, Sababul mu'mini fusuqun. If you say bad words to a mu'min, it's a sin. وَحُرْمَةُ مَالِهِ كَحُرْمَةِ دَمِهِ. The respect that some mu'minins properties have is like their blood. It's not that you say, I don't kill them, but then anything else is okay. I can take their money, for example. I can damage their reputation. No. It's very important. It's like their blood, the respect that they have with other aspects. There is Sahih of Abi Osama, who is Zayd al-Shaham and Abi Abdullah alayhi salam. This is a very beautiful story. إن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وقف بمنى حتى قضى مناسكها في حجة الوداع. Rasulullah stayed in Mina till he finished the rituals of Hajj in the last Hajj, in farewell pilgrimage to Mecca. Then in Mina he said, أَيُّ يَوْمٍ أَعْظَمُ حُرْمَةً? Which day has greatest respect, greatest honor? فَقَالُوا هَذَا الْيَوْمِ. They said today. Then Rasulullah said, أَيُّ شَهْرٍ أَعْظَمُ حُرْمَةً? Which month has more respect? They said this month, months of Dhul Hajjah. Then Rasulullah said, which land, which balad, which land has more honor? They said this balad, means Mecca. So Rasulullah said, Inna dima'akum. Now that you understood the significance of this day and this place and this month, so now I tell you, look at this. Inna dima'akum wa amwalakum alaykum haram. Your blood or money is haram for the others. Each one's blood or money is haram for others. كحرمة يومكم هذا في شهركم هذا في بلدكم هذا إلى يوم تلقونه. In the same way that this day, this month, and this place has honor and respect, people's money and blood has also respect. Till the day of judgment, when you are going to be asked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Rasulullah said, أَلَا هَلْ بَلَّغْتُ? How I delivered the message? قَالُوا نَعَمْ. Then Rasulullah said, Allahumma ashhad. Oh Allah, you be witness that I have done my job. ألا من كانت عنده أمانة فليؤدها إلى من ائتمنه عليها. Anyone who has a trust with him should give it back to the one that has entrusted him with this trust. فإنه لا يحل دم امرئ مسلم ولا ماله إلا بطيبة نفسه. No Muslim's blood is halal for another Muslim. And also money or property without his permission. This illa batibat nafsihi is for mal, not for dam. Yeah, you can take my money if I am happy, but you cannot take my life even if I am happy. You understand? Take my money if I am happy. Don't take my life even if I am happy. Yes? So this is for the second part.
So when it says amwalukum alaykum haram,
Yes.
it means it's honorable upon you.
No, because it has honor and respect, so it becomes forbidden for others to take it. وَلَا تَظْلِمُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَلَا تَرْجِعُوا بَعْدِي كُفَّارًا. Do not do injustice to each other and do not return to the condition before Islam. But he says these hadiths actually do not relate to qa'idatu al-yad. And these hadiths are mostly a matter of respecting other people's property. It's not exactly qa'idatu al-yad. And also these hadiths, some of them are only hukm taklifi. Like the third one, it's only hukm taklifi. But we are talking about hukm wad'i. You remember hukm taklifi and hukm wad'i? Hukm taklifi is what primarily relates to the mukallaf. Yeah? Wujub, hurma, istihbab, karaha, ibaha. Hukm wad'i is about a situation, like milkiyah, zawjiyah. In any case, Sheikh Irwani says, it seems that the only proof that we have, the only reliable argument that we have is as-siratul uqala'iyya. And this sirah is there and has not been banned or prohibited by Shari'. But you have to be careful, because when there is a hadith, if you accept a hadith as the proof, hadith has lisan, hadith has zuhur. So you can go by zuhur. But if it is sirah uqala, then you have to go always by the minimum. Yeah, you have to go only by minimum. That much that you are 100% sure. Okay. I stop here, and then inshallah, after a little break, we continue.
Does it mean assisted dying? Assisted